Good evening, everyone. I'm ready to go. As you know, we've been doing the Up and Coming Barbershop project now for about a month or so, if you put all the times I was streaming this project together. So this is episode number 5, and hopefully I will finally be able to get this first mock-up done today. As often is the case when you're coding and designing, things can sometimes take turns you don't expect and you end up with delays, but yeah, I'm hoping that I can get this one done today. So that being said, just a reminder before we jump in, you can get the music for today from Creators Live on YouTube. They do free music for content creators, free music and sound effects for content creators. So no further stuff to be said or done, we're gonna hop right in. Yeah, so I already have everything opened up, and I don't think I'm going to necessarily need the mockup, but just in case, let me just pull it up over on the side here. I should have it. Yeah, it should be right here. Alright, I just need to go up by one level in this folder, and that should take me to. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we got wireframes, and we have the mockup as well. Alright, so this, I believe, is the... Is this the SVG I just clicked on? I didn't even look at what I was clicking on. Oh, sorry. I went into the folder and loaded up the index. Sorry, there we go. So there's that SVG, and here is the wireframe. Alright, and the only thing I need the wireframe for today, by the way, is I need to see the menu. Oops, not trying to click on Visual Studio Code, but my mouse is not cooperating. I just need to see the menu, and if I had to add any details. Oh, it's getting cut off. I probably should have opened this in Inkscape. Ah well. No, I remember though, last week I did actually code the menu. So it's just a matter of adding the toggle button. So yeah, I don't need to go through that again. I should have looked at this, but I have been pretty busy this week. So I missed that particular detail, but yes, I have the menu already, so I just need to toggle it on and off. I just need to find it back to anyway. Alright, here it is. So last week, and this is why I always like to leave comments. I know some people don't like comments, but I like to leave comments in my stuff to remind myself of certain things. Like, this button has to be styled, so I can uncomment this. I'm going to leave the other comment in place. And I'm going to give this a class. I wasn't a type menu in there, but personally, I like those hamburger menus more. Even though the menu text is descriptive, I still like the hamburger menus more. So we're going to go with that. And the button class will be UNC mobile menu button. And that button should show, currently it's going to show right here because there's no text in it, and also it has not been positioned as yet. So let's hop over here to the CSS and drop that in. Now, this code that I commented out, if you would have watched last time, you would remember this code basically styles the menu on mobile, but since we're not using it as yet, I commented it out. We're going to be dropping that into a media query, and it will automatically turn the menu into a mobile menu on certain screen sizes. Alright, so now we have is UNC mobile mobile menu button. Let me just double check. Great. Normally Atom would autocomplete these. I'm not sure if Visual Studio Code needs an add-on or not, but that's probably why it didn't autocomplete. We're going to position this one as fixed, which moves it out from the nav bar that it was in. We're also going to put it to in set auto, well, no, sorry, 0 because this is the top, and then right is 0, bottom is auto, and left is auto. And let's give it a background color, just so we can see it. This is temporary because it's not necessary for it to have a background color per se. And let's make it 50 pixels wide and give it an aspect ratio of 1:1. There it is. Alright, now border none, because we don't need a border on this. Or, you know what, let's give it a very subtle border. So border won't be at solid RGBA 0.5. And then we'll turn off the top and right borders. So border top, none. And border right will be none as well. And we can change this background color to something transparent, or translucent really. So let's go with 255.1. Maybe 0.3. I'm going to lower this border color opacity a little bit as well. And let's also give it a border radius on the bottom left. So border bottom left radius. We'll go with something like 5 pixels. Or, okay, that's not enough in my opinion. So yeah, about 8 pixels and that should be good. So when you scroll this up, button is still visible, even if the photo is not visible. Now, one of the things we can do in Google Chrome, and you will soon be able to do in Firefox, because if I remember correctly, a fix has finally been released, so I can use this, is you can use backdrop filter, blur, and I'm going to set it to about 8px. Alright, let me set it to something great. It's not actually showing up here, the backdrop filter, sorry. Or is it? Yeah, it is, but it's not really easily visible. I guess maybe the color I use is not producing the effect as strongly as I want it to, but yes, it is visible. It didn't look so at first when I got over the image, but it is visible. But yeah, backdrop filter blur is really cool. It's just that, and I wrote about this recently, it had not been supported in Firefox until very recently, and even though it is supported, I'm not sure if it has been enabled across the board yet. I still have to look that up. But this is one of the challenges with the web. Things can change very quickly, and if you want to support everyone wherever possible, except of course for Internet Explorer users who should not be using Internet Explorer, you probably will have to be making some, you know, adjustments and cutting some corners, some things in order to make things work. Well, one thing I want to change though, by the way, these buttons, when I styled them the last time I was kind of satisfied, but I think I'm going to change their appearance a little bit. And I especially want to make them a bit smaller. Not too small, but enough that the target is still large, but the icons are smaller because the icons look a little too big to me. Alright, I'm just gonna go back to the HTML and find what they're called. Alright, UNC Social. Let's see if I can find that. Here it is. Alright, so let's increase the padding on those images, and that will make them smaller. Alright, I have if you saw something get pasted just now, I actually got a URL in my clipboard from earlier today on a chat and forgot to clear that, so it accidentally pasted. Has nothing to do with what we're doing, and would not be valid CSS, but that was pretty funny. Alright, oh, the other thing I want to do, I'm going to change the background appearance of those buttons as well. Let me just Control C. Right. Is it there? Okay, I'm not actually finding them back now. We just had them. Oh, here we are. I'm slightly oh, I see, wait, it's the buttons that have a background color. So let me take that off and put that in here. I'm actually going to use a lighter color and do the same backdrop filter blur. Oh, by the way, if you see me typing that color there, I was just trying to remember if I can do this. I think I've done it once and it worked. I can't remember exactly for sure. I was just double checking. So that's one of those kids don't try this at home moments. Alright, there we go. I remember too why I had the background color added to the images, and that was because I wanted a gap between them, but I think they would look better without that gap. So I'm going to go with what I have now. And anything else I need to do here? Let me increase the opacity just a bit. And I'm going to round the first and last of them. So I need UNC Socials Menu, UNC Social First Child, and then I'm going to put border radius, well, border bottom left radius. Set that to 8 pixels. It's not immediately visible right now, but that will be fixed when I change their hover styles. Alright, so last child for the second one, which is the last in the list. I'm going to change this to bottom right radius, and there we go. And now the images, let me take off the hover style on them. Good, so now what this does, when the button itself is hovered, that changes and not the image. Now I'm going to move the transition value from within the images and put that inside of the actual buttons. Right, there we go. That should give them a nice transition. I'm going to slow that down a little bit because As you can see, it's not immediately visible that they're transitioning. Good, so that's a lot better. Only one problem though, they are rounded, and I don't want all of them rounded. I'm not sure what I have mistakenly done here, so I need to track that down. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see something. Aha, that's what it is. I knew there had to be a catch. CSS is funny. It is that I have an incorrect selector. So, is that it? That should have been it, but apparently not. Oh, yes, I made another mistake here because I can't just drop LA in here. So I need to move the first and last child to the LA, which should be this element, and that should fix the problem. If my theory is correct. Yes, it is correct. Because I know my stuff. Right. I knew that I was doing something wrong there, but I couldn't remember what it was for a brief moment. There we are. Everything is as it should be. So let me take off this margin from the images. I think these buttons could be a little smaller as well. So let me see here. 0.5. Okay, maybe not 0.5, 0.8. Yeah, that's good. And we're just padding again. Alright, so not looking too bad. Could still have a little more visibility behind those images, of course. So let me try for increasing the opacity. And I'm also going to add a filter to these. Backdrop filter blur 8px. Okay, yeah. I think they'll be better with the blur and less opacity. This is a tough one to get correct because when you have an image behind something, it can be kind of tricky to get the exact look that you want. And then too, because the image is light and the icons are white, it's really difficult to get exactly what you want. Oh, this is a good opportunity now that it crosses my mind to use a different method. So let me take out this background color and the backdrop filter, and I'm going to give these images their own filter, which should be filter drop shadow, and then we can use the syntax of a box shadow. So that would be 0, 0, 5px RGBA 0, 0, 0.25, and that should do the trick. I can shift these shadows a bit as well if I need to, and there you can begin to see the images are a little more visible now because they actually have proper shadows. Still, one of them is not quite as visible as it should be, so I'm going to try adding a spread. Oh, wait a minute. I have commas in here that shouldn't be there. There we go. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have had those commas in there. Alright, so looking a lot better now. And the images are relatively visible. They could still be thicker, but I would need better icons for this particular project to get them to actually work as I want them to. But at least they're better than they were before. Alright, good. So now we have that in place. Let me get back to this menu that we started on. I just wanted to fix that before I moved on because it was bugging me visually. So let me get back to the menu over here. Right, here it is. Alright, so I'm gonna duplicate this and add a hover style. I mean, technically, you don't need a hover style because on a mobile device, usually there's no hover, but we can add a media query for that as well to detect if you're on a mobile device or not, so that you get the best of both worlds. So when you have it on a screen size where that button can show but there's still a mouse, you get the hover style. When you're on a mobile device, no need for a hover style, it will just simply show you a plain old button that doesn't animate or anything like that. Alright, so for the hover style, I'm going to copy what I did with the social media buttons. Oops, I didn't mean to press page down. Alright. Let's make this darker. Alright, and with that in place, let's add the transition, which is using a variable. I can't remember what the name of that variable is. Alright, so let me scroll back up and see if I can find that. I'm going to change this to 3, which should make the animation speed, I believe, 1.5 seconds. Yeah, there we go. And let's duplicate this and move it up to the regular button and change that to 2. So it's a slower animation when you hover it, faster animation when it's going back to normal. And now I will add the Hamburger Menu. UNC mobile menu button content. This is one way you could do that. Oops, I forgot to add after. So that's one way you can do it, and then just rotate it. Or you can actually create separate items and do that as well. So that you can create pseudo elements and use those to create the what should I call it? The Hamburger Menu. Term slipped me there for a second. Alright, so let me use that method and show you how that would work. Background color. Let's give it a white background color in this case. Content, it'll be empty. Position, absolute. Now if we go with position, absolute, oh yeah, the other one is position, the parent is position fixed. So position absolute should still be able to work. Let me take out all these unnecessary details here. The hover style. Alright, so position absolute, inset, we're gonna just go with about 15% on all of it, and good, there it's in place now. Now we can change the sides. Well, we'll put the sides at 15% and we'll put the top and bottom at, say, like about 65. Okay, that's actually, oh yeah, my mistake, I went above 50% so you can't see it. Alright, so let's put it at 45. And there you have your first line in the Hamburger Menu. Then you can go with before. And this time we're going to have to do a little bit of a difference where you have this set to 55, and so that's the bottom, and the top we could set that to, let's say, like 65. Well, no, let's set the bottom to 35 and the top to 65. See if that works. Alright, so it's not visible. Need to tweak these values a little bit. My calculation was a little bit off. Alright, there we go. We're almost there. Alright, so 15 and 75. Close enough, but we want it a little higher up, so let's tweak these a bit. Good, so there we go. So that's second piece of our hamburger menu. And the third one, there is an option I could use, which is, I believe, using a border, or I could just create another element inside of this to create that hamburger menu, because we don't have any other elements, any other pseudo elements that can be used to give us the third one. So what I'm going to do is just drop a span in here. This is what I usually do, since spans are not usually counted for anything. Just drop a span in, and then copy this style here. Can take out the content. Let's make this one blue, and the colors are just so we can see where they are. So we're going to put the top to 15%. Oh, another thing I need to do, display. I need to give it some sort of display, I believe, and that should make it visible if I'm not mistaken. Alright, let me see something here with, because I'm almost certain I'm forgetting something. This happens almost every time when you're working with CSS. There's something you forget. Let me just give it a width and a height temporarily and see if I'm missing anything. Alright, that didn't work either. So what are we missing here? Span. Well, the span is there, so why is it not showing? I'm going to change this to a div and see if it's just that the span is being, nope, span is not being special. Oh wait, that didn't change either. Nope, it's not the span being special. So what is it that's up with my CSS now? This always happens. There's something you're not catching, and then when it hits you, you're like, really? Alright, so border 1px solid red. Let's see where this is actually falling. There's actually no sign of a border around this span. That's surprising. Oh, you know what I just realized was my problem? Folks, you will laugh when you see this if you have not seen it already. I can't believe I made this mistake today. But this happens. Sometimes you make some of the weirdest and silliest mistakes. Look at this. I can't believe I was missing that all this time. So I was here trying to find fixes for something that I didn't actually need. And I'm going, am I really missing it that big? Because I don't need all that stuff to position a span. Alright, so yeah, let me take out the text from this span again, because all of that was necessary. This is one of the fun parts of streaming, so you don't get to edit out anything when you have a minor mistake, and then it causes you to rethink your entire life and your life choices and everything like that. You don't get that opportunity. Alright, so back to positioning. I'm going to put it to 5 at the top, and oops, let's put it to 85 from the bottom. Alright, so we can tweak this now. 70. Looks a little good there. trying to think of it, I could have just copied the values from the one above it and put them in reverse. There we go. So now we can change these colors to all match. There we go. Now, seeing as all three of these are using pretty much the same details, what I'm going to do is just copy their selectors and join them all into one block. And only the parts that need to be... Oops, this should have been before. Oh, sorry. This one should have been before. So yeah, only the parts that need to be different are going to be left in place. UNC mobile menu button span. Let me not make that same mistake again. Treating it like a solo element when it's not. Alright, so we're going to move background color up to there. Move content up to there. Even though span won't use that, but I'll fix that in a second. And so the rest of these we can take out their properties because they don't need them. Saves us some space and some repetition. Alright, so we duplicate this and then we can move the content up to here because of course span is not a pseudo element and it has no content. One of these got changed by accident. Okay, there we go. So now this also allows me to restyle all of these from one spot with like the border radius. Oops, border radius 5px, opacity 0.5. Let's make that 0.85, and there we have it. I'm also going to add a transform to these. Transform scale y 0.5. And what I will do is animate them when the parent is hover. So UNC mobile menu button hover after, and then we will duplicate that twice and change the values at the ends of these here. Before and span. And then I'm gonna, oops, I forgot to close that. I'm gonna copy this, drop it here. Change it to 1, and then we're going to duplicate this down to here. Good. So we get a nice menu animation, a menu button animation when it's hovered. Now for our JavaScript. I could use an event listener, but I don't feel like doing that today, so I will use onClick on a function. OnClick equals show, or better yet, toggle menu. And for that, we will use function toggle menu. And oops, I forgot to check and see if anyone was on chat today. My apologies. Fortunately, I don't see anyone in the chat, so I didn't miss anybody. Alright, so we're gonna go with document query selector, and what are we looking for here? What's the name of that class? Alright, UNC main menu. UNC main menu. Let's make sure it knows it's a class. Class list. Let's make this a variable actually. So let toggle equal class list, and then we can do if toggle contains let me double check on the CSS over here. Alright, UNC menu opener. So if it contains UNC menu opener, which sets it to display none, we will then toggle remove UNC menu opener, else toggle add UNC menu opener. And now what I'm going to do, and comment all of these. So now they're visible, of course. Oops, I need to do that. Right, so we're gonna add a media query now. Media. Oh wait, I didn't even realize this had that emit abbreviation there. Media screen. Okay, wait. Let's try that again. Because clearly it's looking for something more from me. I usually use Atom, so I don't remember all of the shortcuts here. Media. Okay, it doesn't give me everything else. So it's media only screen and max width. I believe this should be about 1024 pixels. Then we can drop all these in here. So if I resize this above, good, there we go, it works. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I amaze myself that I remember all of this because CSS is so much to remember. But yes, I remembered. And let me also change the button color. UNC menu button. Oops. Background color. In fact, let me use a variable for this. So UNC black for the background color. And there we go. And everything works as it should, except for clicking the menu. Something I obviously did wrong, but it did hide the menu, it just didn't show it again. So let me double check and see what is going wrong here. Oh, it's not actually giving me any errors. So I will need to actually debug this by adding a console log thing to this. Console log. Blah, blah, blah. See if this works. Okay, it does work. So why is it not adding UNC menu opener now? Unless... Wait, no, it isn't adding it because the menu is not showing back up. Alright, let me see something here. This should have worked, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, let me just run back through this code again. I was going to do this the long route, but let me just take a quick look at this. It is selecting from the right thing. It's choosing its class list, checking to see if it contains menu opener, which has display of none, and removing it if it does have it, and if it doesn't have it, then it should add it. Still confused as to why it's not working. Alright, let's see. So this is if it contains it. Okay, it's something else that I'm missing. But it is not adding... well, sorry, it's not removing the class because it is clearly not... Oh! Wait. Is this correct? Yeah, this is correct. Oh, you know what? The dot. I can't believe this. Once again thwarted by a simple dot. Yep, that was it. Figured as much. So we can take out this console log thing. It's always either a dot or a semicolon that messes you up in this stuff, isn't it? Alright, so now I need to figure out what this big white background here is, because that should not be showing either. Oh, I see what it is. It's UNC main nav. So that means I need to tweak some stuff here and there. Aha. UNC menu opener. Let's add it to the main nav. Only problem is though the button becomes invisible, so that's a problem. Alright, we're gonna need to tweak our CSS because I made a mistake in my designing this beforehand, and that's that this nav should actually still remain visible, but it's the menu that should be taking up all this screen size. So I'm going to need to tweak that a little bit. Let's see here. Alright, so what I did, currently I've moved the menu to have a fixed position and take up the entire screen. And I'm going to move the nav to have... Wait a minute. Okay, cool. I nearly thought I had made a mistake here. It's just that the braces for this and these are not aligned as I expected them to be. I'll need to fix that later. Anyway. So this nav is going to need to be repositioned to be at the top of the screen. And for that I'll use and set 0, 0 to top, right to 0, left to... Sorry, bottom to auto and left to use calc 100 view width minus 50 px. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to do is move this one down by 50 px. Good, so the menu button remains visible. and we can click it on and off. Perfect. Wasn't such a dramatic fix after all. It was pretty simple. Just sometimes as you're designing, you may sometimes forget something here and there, and then you have to go back and fix it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have the I'm going to have the navbar hide these buttons when it's open. And to do that, I'm going to add some styles to menu opener. And I'm actually going to switch how this works in the JavaScript as well. So I'm going to put add here and remove here. And I'll explain in a minute. I just need to work through in my head what I'm doing here, although I do have the idea in my head already as to what to do. So the first thing I need to do is, seeing as now the nav carries menu opener, when it is open, I'm going to move the position it is in. So in set 0 and right will remain 0 again. Bottom is also, and left is 0. I'm going to change the background color as well. This is just temporary so I can see that it is there. Oh, I forgot. This should be 100 view height minus 50 px. Should it? It should work. Alright, let's see something. Top 0, left 0, right 0, height 50 px. Still something off here. Alright, let's try to inspect and see if this navbar is actually picking up what it should. Nope. Not actually seeing the navbar in the inspect, so it didn't actually spread across there, which is annoying because it should have, seeing as UNC menu opener is lower down in the file, it should have overridden what I have there already. So I'm going to need to track this down and figure out who is the culprit. Oh, it didn't actually have the class. Interesting. UNC menu opener. Good, there we go. Now it's doing what it should do. The button still isn't going to work, but I'll fix that in a second. Alright, so let me see. Alright, I actually shouldn't have changed this JavaScript code, now I remember. Should I? Or should... Yeah, I'll figure this out eventually. Now my brain is getting confused because I went and changed around what I wanted to do, and now I'm probably confusing all of you as well. My apologies. Alright, I can take out this from there. And alright, now I remember what I wanted to do. UNC menu opener. UNC main menu. And I'm going to set UNC main menu to display none. Alright, now we have a slight problem because this is now showing at the top and it shouldn't be. So who is overriding who? Oh, I see what happened. This still has the menu opener class on it. Oh yeah, because I forgot to change this part of the JavaScript code. This should be main nav instead of main menu, and that should fix our problem. There we go. Perfect. Let's add transition to this. Good, that's what I wanted to see. Good, so that works as I wanted it to. That was the last of what we needed to do with this menu button. So the last thing to do here on this mockup is, well, should be about two things actually, now I remember. We need to resize and double check. Well, we already fixed this one. Didn't realize I had already done that. So the last thing to do really then should be the lines across between these four testimonials, and that one is relatively straightforward. So let's just find the element for that, and then I'll fix that. Alright, it's actually not even an index, it is in home. So let me resize this thing here. Not seeing the button to open the sidebar, so I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Alright, the UNC testimonial divider. That's the one I was looking for. Do I already have this in my code though? Let me just double check. Yeah, there it is. So UNC testimonial divider. Let's get before and after here. Pressing the wrong keys there by accident. Alright, UNC testimonial divider before, and let's also, oops, I keep pressing page up and page down because this keyboard is so weird. Let's change that to after. Content is nothing. Background color is var UNC logo color. And for each of these we can use the same height, which will be about 2 pixels. Could even be 1 pixel, really and truly. So let's use 2 pixels for now. But I may change it if I want it to be thinner when I'm actually done. And oh yeah, position absolute for each of them. And for now, I'm going to put them in the same place, but I'm going to move this after I figure out the width that they need to be at. So let's have the position to also for top and bottom, and minus let's go with a negative 50 pixels for now. Or it's not seeing them. Let me see if they're actually visible. Oh, you know what the problem is? Is that the problem? No, the parent is positioned absolutely, so it's not that. What am I missing this time? Oh, there they are. They're on the top. I couldn't see them. I wasn't missing anything, I just couldn't see them. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I was trying to hide the sidebar and needed to remember the shortcut. So yes. Top and bottom, we can change those for the individual elements. So let's just move this down and add individual selector, well, declaration blocks to these, and that should do the trick. So we're going to swap around the values to top and bottom here. So it says auto for the top and 25 for the bottom. And well, I forgot to change this to before. There you go. So the lines now are in place. We can make them thinner because 2 pixels is a bit thick. Now I was thinking it would be nice too if we add some like circles on the end of these lines. But the thing with that is you'll need to actually add some extra elements because you don't get any other pseudo elements, which is, to be honest, a little disappointing. And you can't have like a pseudo element of a pseudo element. That would be even cooler because you could do a whole lot more in CSS like that, but you don't get the opportunity. So what I'm going to do, oh wait, I just realized this actually does have elements in place already that I can use. Genius me, remembered to do that the last time that I worked on this file, but didn't remember I had already done it. So I can already style those divs individually. Awesome. UNC testimonial divider div first child position. Wait, let me take out the first child here and have both of them positioned absolutely. Drop the first shell back in here, and let's have before and after. going to be doing a lot of duplication here with a reason and a purpose. So we need to position both of these divs absolutely. Then we need to position their pseudo elements absolutely. And finally, we're going to style those elements differently. When I say style more, like we're going to put them in place differently. We can style them the same, but we have to put them in place individually. This is one of the reasons why some people get frustrated with CSS, because it's kind of complicated and it's a lot to remember, but it does pay off in the end, I have to say. Alright, so background color, let's go with var UNC logo color. Let's give them content of nothing. Height, we're gonna go with 5 pixels, and aspect ratio 1:1. Border radius 50%. Tweaking the height a little bit because I need them to be just a little bit bigger, but not too big. Oh, and let me also position these parents individually. So I'm going to copy this and drop it here. I'm going to take out the pseudo elements from these selectors as well. And basically what I'm going to do is match the position that these pseudo elements are in to the divs. So it will be in set 25%, and then -50. Oh no, actually yeah, I just need top instead of in set. So I'm going to use top 25% and bottom 50%. Oh no, bottom 25%, sorry. Yeah. Or let me see if that is correct here. No. Oh wait, now I realize what happened. This should be last child, my bad. Good, so now we have the divs in place, although we can move them up just slightly because, as you can see, right, they need to intersect the lines. So let's go with, oops. Right, this one's going to be tricky. 26.5 takes it too far. 25.5 is almost there. 25.75, close enough, I guess. Yeah, about as close as we're gonna get. Okay, so they're on the lines. Now let's see if we can put these children where they need to go. Alright, so for the first child, after solo element, let's put that to negative 50 pixels. And, well, negative 50 pixels on the left, and then the other one to the right. Probably shift it just a few more pixels so it goes directly on the testimonial. By the way, using pixels here is kind of exact, but we can use a calculation so that it actually moves as the page resizes. I'm going to shift it to that shortly. This is just demo purposes at this point in time, but I'm going to calculate that and actually put it in the right position. Wait, I just saw an opportunity to where I can save myself some duplication, so yeah, that does the trick. There we go. Now let's use view width actually to do this time. We set of pixels. If I'm not mistaken, this should keep them exactly as they need to be. Yep, it does. So now what we're going to do is have the lines that they're attached to move in the same way. And just so you know, full transparency, there was no genius in choosing 5 view width. I just kind of winged it at that point and it happened to be correct. So I wasn't sure if that was going to work or not, but it did. This one can be adjusted just a little bit, of course, because it is getting moved out of position. So I'm going to use 25.5 to keep it in a better position. Of course, these need to be restyled a little bit as well because they should actually be dropping into columns, and this set of lines could disappear altogether. But yeah, basically we have the gist of this mockup in place. The story and events pieces, we don't need to actually style them. Those will be for the final design if your client were to go ahead and decide they actually want to work with this design. And then you would actually fill those in. But for a mockup, you don't actually need to do that piece. And these, of course, I'm not going to do the style on these for now. Probably when we get around to choosing a final design for our fictional client, we'll actually do that. But I think I'm going to cut it short here. I had fun working on this despite the errors and mistakes that crop up from time to time, but what is designing and development without mistakes and without missing something here and there? It's all part of the whole process and what makes it fun at the end of the day. So I hope you've learned something along the way, and I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Next time we get back to this, I'm going to be doing a second mockup. We're keeping the HTML intact, so none of this will change, but the CSS will be rewritten so that we have a completely different layout using the same HTML. Alright, so until next week, you know who I am. I am Roland Dixar, aka Roland Taylor. And you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, all on the same handle. You can also visit my website, rolanddixar.pro/streaming, and you can go to my link tree to find all of my stores, links and everything. Alright, so until next week, I'll see you all again. Hope you have a good one.